Okay, so other thing I wanted to go over for project 2, this rubric. That is not the right rubric. Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about grading from the last project. So the things that are covered in this criteria are going to be very similar for the final. We're just going to have more things. So for the first, plans are reflected ceiling plans. Designer creates appropriate spaces defined for each program, considering size of space, adjacency to other programs, access, circulation, sequence, access to daylight. So a lot of this work is stuff that we actually did in our first review, right? When you're making your bubble diagrams, thinking about adjacencies, thinking about that circulation diagram. So what I'm really looking for you to do when you present your plans is make the connections between those initial diagrams you did, that initial analysis you did, and the final plan you landed on. And I think for a lot of you, that's going to mean having one more plan in there. So I'm thinking maybe you'll show your bubble diagram and your circulation access diagram, and then also have a program diagram after that where you have your plan, and then by color, it's showing the different programs or the different departments. And some of you already have that, but I think that was one thing during the read that I know I was struggling to figure out, even though I know the programs really well, is just like, how did we get from here to here? And the easier we make that for the jurors to understand, the quicker they'll kind of catch on to your project. Next thing, designer takes logical risks to transform the existing building and to define the main concepts driving design choices. So as you know, like, this building has kind of an uphill struggle, right? Like, a lot of people have not liked it. It's been slated for demolition. So I think you really need to make your point of like how you're going to make this from an undesirable building to a place that people really want to be. And I think all of you have made moves that are drastic, right? Like, we have Tori who's like coring out the floor and making it into this like these crazy circle canyon things. Aubrey's taking chunks out of the side of it. Clara has reoriented the whole thing to have a new entrance. Kim really has that center piece that's like working through the building. So think about like what's essential to your design and how you can make sure to highlight that as you're presenting, so that again, it kind of gives reviewers a touchstone to come back to, like, okay, these are like the main moves we're making. This is how they're doing it. This is why we're making it. This is why these moves make sense for this building and for this client. Designer clearly presents the organization of the space through clear drawings, diagrams, and descriptions. So some of that we just talked about up here. This is something we're also going to go over today. So today we're working on 2 things in Revit. The first is a review and kind of doing some troubleshooting for things that went wrong. So I think a lot of you didn't spend copious amounts of time in Revit until it was right before our review, and I wasn't here because it was like between our Monday-Friday split. So when you spend lots and lots of time in Revit, that's when you encounter all the issues and you need all the troubleshooting help. So I want to kind of go back and try to figure out what were the problems you ran into and how can we solve them. So that's the first thing. Second thing is looking at visibility and graphics. So far we've been using the standard boilerplate. This is the graphics that Revit comes with. But there's lots of options to changing that. So you can change the color of your wall couches. You can change the color of your floor patterns. You can have things that are existing and new look different. You can have some things have thicker lines or thinner lines. So we're going to go over how you change those things today so that you can make the plans read more like you want them to read, right? Because they were looking a little bit generic. So it'll give you the opportunity to go back and kind of get those looking stylistically like you want them to look. Okay, so that was the plans reflected ceiling plans. And that was the bulk of the points. So if there's 20 points overall, that was 12 points. Finished board. Finished board choices reflect an understanding of the elements of art: line, shape, form, space, color, including color theory, texture, and value, and principles of design: contrast, balance, proportion, hierarchy, movement, and unity. Finished choices address acoustics, durability, safety, and environmental responsibility. So we're not just thinking about how artistically these finishes are working together. We're also thinking about how are these things working for our client? Are they durable enough for the situation that we're putting them into? Is it going to be really loud in there? Are we taking care of that acoustic element like we need to? finishes chosen are appropriate for the selected community group. So depending on who you're working with, you might be able to have more things that you might be able to have more soft seating. You might need things that are more cleanable. You can think about the kind of wear and tear that it'll get based on the community group and the program that's in there. And finally, finished board is carefully and artfully arranged so that you really have finishes right next to each other that will abut each other, so we can get a better idea of what this space will look like. Finally, three-dimensional views. View helps audience understand spatial qualities of project that may not be easily described in a plan drawing. So when I say that, I mean that every drawing you have, you should be doing for a reason, that it's telling the client something that they don't know from the other drawing, or that they don't fully understand from the other drawing. 3D views are especially helpful because in our building, we have that center space that in plan, you can't tell what it looks like, right? Like you can see that there's stairs going on, but you don't really understand the stacking of space in a single plan. So having that, having a 3D view there is helpful. View is well considered and developed, including furniture and finishes. So, do you guys have any questions about this criteria, this rubric? Okay. Okay, so if you could all get your Revit models open. The first thing I want to show you, I was trying to research the whole thing where your realistic view was coming up invisible. And all I found so far is that you need to open through Revit. So let's see if that solves it. So what I mean by that is first you open up Revit. So when it says Revit 2022, you double click on that rather than clicking on your file. Sorry, my computer is super slow today. Are yours already open? Yeah. Maybe I don't know, maybe I should restart it. Okay, so always make sure that when you're opening, you come here to open and then navigate to your model, and let's see if that fixes it. I think mine's on the desktop. Okay, so if you go to a 3D view and turn on the realistic button, can everybody see their finishes that they put in? Or can everybody see their model at all, or is it just showing up as invisible? So if you change it to realistic, I know you're doing it before. Okay. Yeah, okay. So that apparently was just a glitch in the last release, and they had a hotfix for it, which is like an update basically, but I don't think we can do updates on this computer, so we just need to make sure we're always open through open our project first and then open up your model. And it's working. Yeah, yours was working before, right? Okay. Okay, sweet. So, what else was brought up? Floors being transparent. So who has floors that are coming up as transparent that I can look at? I'm not sure. It's like there's a couple things it could be, so I don't know. Because I was hearing like from Maya, did anybody have this issue Maya had where like she was seeing her first and second floor at the same time? It was like you had that. So can I see it?
When you try to move stuff, it'll move stuff.
Show me what you mean.
Try to highlight this.
Okay. What's the bottom floor too?
And you can see the furniture on my floor.
Oh. Huh. Yeah, it's a big one. Huh. So I don't know if I have anything right underneath here. Let's see. So this is my plaza level plan. Let me add some furniture onto this plan so I can try it. So if I have like, that's not happening to me right now. If I do wireframe. So one thing to check, okay, go over here to on the side of, so make sure it says floor plan up here, then come down, make sure you don't have an underlay on, so where it says underlay, put in none. And then the other thing to check is over here where it says view range, hit edit, and change your view range. So here it says like top should be plaza level 7.6, cut plane, it should be plaza level 4 feet. For bottom, it should say plaza level 0 feet, and for view depth, it should say associated level plaza level 0, and hit OK. So it's not showing the floor below. Close. So change the bottom here from ground level and make that plaza level. And then hit OK. Okay, now try selecting again. Okay, so basically your view range sets like how far you can look. So if your bottom is set to the floor below, it'll also select stuff on the bottom floor. You want to set it just to the floor you're on. There might be an area where you want to see what's underneath. So for example, let's say I'm on the plaza level and I have like that stair thing going on. I think I might have deleted my stair on here. Is that what's going on? Why is my stair all gone? Where am I in this building? Hang on. Okay, so like let's see if there's stairs on the bottom level there. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my existing plans. Is existing. Yeah. So your view range settings are over here under properties. You're going to go to, you're looking for view range. So it's under extents and then view range. So click edit. You want your top, basically all of these should say the level you're on. So for me, they're all plaza level. Your top is at 7.6. Your cut plane is at 4 feet. Your bottom is at 0. And your view depth is also at 0. The one thing I'm curious about though, what if you set, can you try this for me on yours, Kim? What if you set your view depth to level below and then hit OK? Do you still have that issue? And I think the answer is going to be yes.
All of mine were with the settings you described.
And you're still having the issue? I think you can do view depth without selecting the stuff below, but check me on that.
Let me check my plaza level. More sense.
Yeah. Okay, so if you go into view range. Yeah, so change those to be plaza level. Actually, just try changing just that one first, and let's see if that does it. Does that still work? Okay, good. So the reason I say that is because like you have like the stair pit in there, and it'll make, I'm worried it's going to make your stair pit disappear if we put all of them to stop at 0, because like these are below 0, right? Okay. All good? Okay. So slight revision there. So for the plaza level, where you go to view range, the top 3 should all say plaza level. The view depth over here, you can have at ground level and it'll still work. And that way you can see like your stairs going down. Because basically if your view depth is at plaza level, it's going to cut it right at 0 and you won't see anything below that. Okay, so let's see, what was the next thing people talked about not working? Floors are transparent. You want to, so Aubrey, you want to bunt out a wall, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's look at how you could go about doing that. So are you working, you're working over in this area, right?
Yeah.
So if I were creating a new bump out, I would go ahead, make sure I'm on my new construction, good. I would make a new floor to begin with, or maybe I'd set the walls first. Let's set the walls first. You go to architecture, wall, and then what kind of wall do I have? I want an exterior wall for this. So I probably want to match whatever this is. Let's see what this is. This is basic wall, generic 60 inches. So I'm going to use the same thing. We're going to go to wall, generic 16 inches. Okay, and it's your decision how you want to make things look, obviously. But let's say I'm coming out like 15 feet. And then I'm going to come down to maybe the 3rd grid line here and then come back and connect into that wall. I'm then going to need to I want to make sure that these are going up as far as I want. So if I select them over here under my constraints, I can see where it's going. So right now it's going from plaza level up to level 3. And so that would be like a 1-story bump out. If you wanted it to be a 2-story bump out, you could go up to level 4. Let's keep that at level 3. I'm going to keep mine at level 3 for now. Okay, and then I want to put in a floor here. So I'm going to go to architecture, floor, concrete slab, and put that in. Okay, so this still is not going to be what I want it to look like in elevation. So I'm going to bring up my 3D view and kind of see what I've made so far. And so I'm over on the back here. I thought I had more in this model. I'm wondering if this is like an early version where the whole thing wasn't built. Right? Your models have more than that, don't they? Yeah. Okay. Not ideal. I'm in the old model. That's okay, whatever. So I'd want to make a little roof over it. So to do that, I can do that in plaza level, or I can actually just do that right here. So I would go to architecture, roof. I'd like it to be on level 3, and then I can, using this green selector tool, I can select the outsides of these walls to kind of show it where I want it to be. And then, let's see, is this coming out straight?
I'm trying to make a wall, but it's not showing up.
Your wall is not showing up. Okay, let me come take a look.
The little error noise.
It's giving you an error noise. That sounds bad. Let me see. All right.
So I connected to like these edges, and then it would tell me that my walls were low, even though I was starting with endpoint.
Okay.
And then it would disappear here. And it would give me
So here it's disappearing because your crop view, your view is cropped there. So if you go here, go down, and then unclick crop view, and then it'll show up. But the other thing we can do is turn on your crop region, which is down here. The next one. Click on that, and then you're going to want to drag that line out. So if you click on it, come out, zoom out, and you want to find the bubble here, and you can drag that bubble out further, so you can see that part of the wall. And in terms of why it thinks it overlaps,
it thinks everything overlaps. When
Yeah.
I was making walls, I have a lot of walls that don't like connect.
It doesn't really matter if things overlap, I guess is what I would say. I wouldn't worry about it.
Because like, for example, like in this room here.
Yeah.
I remade this bathroom how many times? But every time I try and make a room tag, it doesn't associate this as a room,
Okay.
which is completely odd to me. And then it associates this one like
It looks like this wall doesn't connect all the way through in the back, maybe. So use go to modify up here, and then this one, and then try clicking on the back wall and the side wall. That one, and the side wall. Oh, is there a wall there at all? It looks like that wall isn't there, even though that might be an underlay or something. Do you have an underlay on? No, you don't have an underlay on.
I said we built this bathroom like 3
Let me
times.
see. Let me just see what that is. Why is this not basic wall? Room banding. Let's do this up to level. Wait, your plaza level? Yeah, to level 3. Okay.
I have that, I consistently have that issue, and then it'll, when I try and shorten the walls,
Oh, your thing's backwards.
yeah. And I don't know how to change that either.
That's really annoying. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so those are already connected. That must be. Alright. This wall we know is good because it's defining that room. So what about this one? That also looks like it's good. So architecture, and we're on plaza level, right? Where is this one? Level up. Oh, these are ring bounding. This is ring bounding, ring bounding, ring bounding, ring bounding, ring bounding. That's very odd. So this one's all the way to 4? 0 inches. Although I don't know why it would matter for this one, not the one next to it. That's odd, you know. That's from that. Here you go. So there was a base offset, which means like if the floor and the wall weren't connecting, it didn't know that that was a boundary,
I see.
which is silly, but whatever. I think I wonder why I had a base offset set on the wall to begin with. That's kind of odd. But one thing you can always check if you go, when you select your wall, just come over here to base constraint and just make sure that the base offset's 0. If you're building a wall, that should have a base offset of 0. Okay.
Right. Like, you saw how you dragged that wall up and it like snapped like really far away from the wall.
Yep.
And then when I drag it back, I want it to like line up here. And when I do that, it doesn't line up.
Yeah, so what's happening is that Revit is building each of those walls, and it like thinks that they want to overlap that much.
Okay. So there's no way to fix that.
There is no way to fix it. The one way you can fix it if it's bothering you visually, if you select it, you see that little thing, right click on it, and then you disallow join, and then it'll creep back to where you want it. Does that make sense? So let me show you that as well. So maybe one of the most graphically frustrating things about Revit is that it like makes its own decisions about how it wants to connect things, and sometimes it's like different than what you want. So Aubrey was having an issue over here, I think, right? Where, and even here, I think I have one of those. Let's see. Oh no, I was just being lazy on that one. I don't know if I have a good example. I don't have a good example, but sometimes like, what if I do this? Okay, do you see how like right now, let's say I really wanted this wall to go all the way through and I want this wall to stop at it, but it's like making a decision for me about how I'm constructing this wall. So like, let's say this is a big like concrete masonry wall, and really this whole thing should be concrete, and then this should be like a little partition just hitting it. But instead it's saying that like my little partition caps the concrete wall. That's like what that means. And like, that's just not how I want them to build it. So sometimes you can get it to behave just by using these tools. These are the modify tools. This one is trim extend. So I can kind of use this to try to trim this, and that might work, but you can see it still had that channel go past, which is not what I want, right? So the other thing I can do, if I click it, there's this little thing that comes up. If I right click on here, I can say disallow join. And then now it's recognizing them as like two separate walls, and it's not trying to join them on its own, because sometimes the way it joins it is not what you want. And then I can do align. So the align tool is this one, or you can use AL. So I can do align this to there, and then I can align that to there. And now that connection is how I want it to be. That's getting a little bit fine-grained, but I know that it can get really frustrating when you're trying to get something to like look like you want it to look, and it's not doing it. So again, that's the little bubble shows up. You right click on it and you would click disallow join. Or if you want to switch it back, you could right click on here and hit allow join. And then it'll do it however it thinks it should be. Okay. So Celeste, we're going through all the like questions that came up during the review to try to kind of get people back on track. And the goal is to have revised documents of what you presented last Monday for Friday. So far we've gone over things being invisible in realistic view. Are you having that issue? Things being invisible in realistic view. I know you've had it before. So the key is that when you open, you need to open up Revit first and then open your file through Revit. So don't double click on your Revit file on the desktop. Make sure you always open up Revit and then open through Revit. And then were you having the selecting through the floor issue?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go over that again. So on the selecting through the floor issue, you need to change your view range. Do you have your file open?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go to a plaza level, then click on view range, just right here, and edit that. And then make sure the bottom of your view range is plaza level. And then the offset should be 0 inches, and that should fix that. All right. So Aubrey, did you get those walls in?
Yes. I just need to adjust them because I realized they're on how it was like triangular bump outs.
Okay.
what situation? What situation?
The floor.
Yeah.
So you're just building a new floor that's just where you need it to be. So you would go to architecture, floor, and then I would use a concrete slab. So I have the 6-inch one, and you're tracing in wherever the floor is missing. So you can also use the picker tool to kind of pick the edges of where you want it to be. And then you can use the trim tool to clean those up. And then hit the green check mark. Okay, so please let me know when you have the roof in, and then I'll show you the last part for the window. Okay. Celeste, did that work? Okay. Kim, what were other issues? Do you remember?
I think I need to demolish, like, the courtyard.
You need to demolish the courtyard. Okay. So go to level 3. And then you can use your hammer. So if you go to modify, sorry, I gotta get this just in case it's stick here. Oh wait, no, she's not. Never mind. She's not a daycare today. I'm losing my mind. Okay. And then you just click on something, and then that demolishes it. You're in. Are you in the right? Are you in new? Yeah. Sorry?
I'm gonna go ahead and get curved walls.
How to get curved walls? Yeah. So curved in plan view curved, or plant curved as like this way curved, in section curved.
In plan view.
In plan view curved. Okay. So if I wanted to make, let's say I actually wanted my bump out to be like round here, I would go to wall, and then I can't use a spline tool, but I can use the start end radius arc. So that's probably what I would use. And then you could click on the end of the wall, and then you're just kind of working on. So it's not infinitely flexible, obviously, but you can kind of get close to the curve you want. If you have, like, let's say you knew you wanted something to be exactly radius on the side, the other tool you can use here is, if I go to architecture wall, there's this one that lets you fillet the edges. So I could do fillet arc, and I could kind of bring the walls in that way. Hang on. Let me finish fixing the floor here. Did I get the arc? Like the fillet or the first arc?
The fillet.
Yeah, so for that one, again, undoing. For that one, I click on wall, and then it's this one right here that says fillet arc. So I click on that, and then you click on the first wall, and then the second wall, and then you just kind of drag inwards. And you can always click on here to change the radius later. So I could make this like 5 feet or something, or 10 feet, depending on how much you want there. You're supposed to, you're 4, is your 12 not? This was the thing you were teaching, maybe that. Yes, that's fine. But I think your voice might just be missing as well. Yeah. So we're looking at ground, your ground level flow rate. Yeah, your ground level flow is fine. So I don't know if that's back to knowledge. Let's look back to existing, see if it's there. Yeah, it looks like it was there in existing. So do you still want that for there?
Yeah.
I don't set some.
When that got deleted, it might have been deleted before the wall that's missing. Yeah, I don't know. So these walls probably want to go all the way to the school, right? So for these ones, you would just come over here and make sure that this was 0 instead of 10. We'll figure it out with a little offset on this somehow. If you want them to go all the way to the third level,
No,
so I right click on here and put like some help. So I'm just going to select these and make sure that over here. Anyway, so you would go over here and change this to 0, and then change, and then also the top. So the select wall. Yeah, and then so over here, you kind of want to go up to level 3, and then you can give it a little offset just for the floor. So like let's say the floor is 6 inches thick, and then just give it a 6-inch offset so that it's not overlapping the floor. But this is still here. Why is that still showing? So this is on the plaza level. This is going up to plaza level. Oh, so maybe this needs to have it in. Let's try getting that on that second page. Okay, now that's fine, because I should be going to the floor. So the same thing, I'm guessing. There's like a second curve wall side.
is it in the,
Do you want it to be? I guess it depends how high you want it to be, right? Okay, so then you would just change your top offset, and you're going to get like 6 inches, or whatever it needs to be, and then it should like keep it from popping through the floor there. Okay. Yep. Okay, Aubrey, you're ready to go over how to do the rounded side?
I'm still figuring out how to connect these walls the most intuitive way. Because like I'm having issues with these, how they're like slanted like that. So I need to use it.
Okay, so for that, let me show you how to do that.
I just made like a wall and like connected it as if it was a square, and then I edited the profile.
Yes, you already know how to do that. Great. So in case for everybody else, I don't know if you all have edited wall profiles yet. I'll go over that so you know how to do it. So right now this looks like it's working in plan, but if I go to 3D view, hang on. Actually, this looks like it's working in 3D view too. Oh, I guess because this was my like unfinished one, but in the real model, your walls here are like angled in some way, right? And so when I make this, it might not connect cleanly to the other wall. So to fix that, I would select it and go to edit profile. I try not to edit things in 3D whenever I can because I can't tell what I'm doing as well. So I'll show you in 3D first though. I would go edit profile, and then I can use my selector tool to select that edge. Then I would use my trim tool to complete that shape and delete the middle line and hit check. So that's one way to complete the wall. The other way is to make a section there. So if I go to plaza level, and you can see the gap that's happening, right? So if I go to view, I would make a section, have it facing that way, right click on it, hit go to view. And now I can see where the things are not lining up. So now I can select this, or I think it's this one, hit edit profile, use my green tool to select the existing line of that, then use my trim tool to connect those. The reason I use my green tool instead of just trying to draw the line is like it's a little bit more accurate that I know I'm like really on that wall and I'm not drawing it slightly off it. And then I hit my check mark. And my roof, same thing. My roof, I forgot to put the curve on, so I'd hit edit footprint, use my green tool to select the outsides of those walls, and then I can trim those. Remember, you're always selecting what you're keeping when you're trimming, which is different than AutoCAD. If this little arrow is here, that means it's defining the slope. I want a flat roof, so I'm going to select this line and hit do not define slope next to it. And then hit my check mark. Okay, so Aubrey, do you want a few more minutes before I do the window? Okay, so other thing I was hearing about was curtain walls. People were like not able to switch things on them, right? So curtain walls are kind of funny creatures. Let's make a brand new curtain wall to kind of go over it. So I'm going to go to my ground level, and I'm just going to make a little square curtain wall over here. So I'm going to go to architecture, wall, architectural, and then under my properties, I can come down here and I can select curtain wall. And I'm just going to draw it out 24 inches or 24 feet each way. That's a square. Okay. So when I do just curtain wall, you'll notice that there's like nothing else on it, right? It's just, I think I'm a floor up maybe. Let me come down a floor. Right, this is just like a glass box. There's no mullions or anything on it. If you use Storefront, so if I were to select these, I hold control to select multiple things at once and change it here to Storefront, it's going to start putting in mullions based on a predefined pattern. So if you click on this and you go to edit type, it'll tell you like, okay, the vertical grid spacing is at 5 feet. The horizontal grid spacing is at 8 feet. These are the interior mullions I want. These are the exterior mullions I want. So if I'm working on like a giant skyscraper and it's going to have glass all the way around it, I don't want to place everything. I want to just tell it like, this is how I want it and let the program do it. So if I were, and I can also change this. So for interior type mullion, let's say I wanted circular for some reason, I could change all these to circular. So mullion is the vertical, and the horizontal that like holding the glass, right? So the glass comes up and it hits the mullion. We have curtain wall. We have curtain wall in the other room. We don't have it here, but it's that vertical partition. So I could change these all to circular. Hit OK. And then if you look carefully, it just made all of those circular all the way around. So that's one way to handle it, is to do things as Storefront. I tend to just do things as curtain wall and then kind of define my grids as I go, because most of my projects are small and I want to really control where everything is. So once I have this in here, I can add mullions to the sides. So let me actually undo what I did before. Okay, I'll redo. Okay, so here I'm back in at my curtain wall. So I'm going to select all my curtain walls. I want to make sure it's not popping through the floor above. So under top constraint, I'm going to give it a top offset of -6 inches because the floor thickness is 6 inches, right? So you don't want the curtain wall to go through the floor. You want to stop the floor. So here I'm going to do -6 inches. Okay, now I'm going to just work on one side at a time. So I'm going to go back to my ground level. And I just want to work on this side. So I'm going to create an elevation looking at that. So I go to view. My elevation is under create. And then when I come close to the wall, it'll show like which direction it's looking at. You see that little arrow that pops up? That tells me what I'm looking like at. So I want to look at this wall. So I'm going to click here. And then I'm going to double click on this and it'll bring me to that elevation. So here is my curtain wall. I'm going to add in grid lines that are going to allow me to add in mullions. So I'm going to go to architecture and then grid lines. Where is this? Right here, curtain grid. So I'm going to click on that. And you see that little dotted line that comes up? That's defining where I'm going to have a split in the glass. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to split my glass here, here, and here. Let's say I want this one to be a door and I want everything else to be more or less the same size. Let's see. So let's say I'm doing this one. I want to be 4 feet straight. For a door, how wide should it be? Double door. 6, right? But I have to have a mullion as well. So let's say I have 2-inch mullions. How big is my door, the door opening now? 6'4". Yep. So I'm going to change this to 6'4" so that I get space. Actually, I'm sorry. If it's a 2-inch mullion, it's going to be centered on that line. There's going to be 2 inches on either side of it. So it's only going to be, I need an additional inch on each side of the door. And you can always measure it after if you guessed wrong. So I'm going to do 6'2", and let's see if that works. Then these I want to be equal. So I'm going to dimension them. And I'm going to hit the EQ button, and that'll make those panels the same size as each other. Next, for height, I can make a curtain grid going the other way. So I'm going to put a curtain grid here. Let's say I just want a 7-foot door. But maybe I want these panels to go full height, but I still want this to stop at the door. So I want to remove some splits in this glass. So if I select here, I can select Add Remove Segment, right? So I select on the dotted line, hit Add Remove Segment, and then I can click on just that piece that I want to get rid of. And now I just have the split at the door. And this I also need to make 7 foot 1 inch to account for the mullion. Okay, so now I go to mullion, and I want a 2-inch mullion. So I don't have one, so I'm going to make one. So rectangular mullion, 1 inch square. I'm going to go to Edit Type, and I'm going to change this, duplicate this type, put in 2-inch square, hit OK. And then where it says width on side 1, I'm going to do 1 inch, width on side 2, 1 inch. And my thickness should be 2 inches, and then hit OK. And then I just click on the dotted lines to add in those mullions. So I can add all those in. And so far, I think these are all glass, right? If we look in 3D, but you want the door to be like a door. You don't want it just to be a piece of glass. So you need to tab to get that panel. So if you hover over it, you hit tab until you see like that panel highlighted. So you see how like it's blue around the edges, you click. And then over here, you would scroll down. I don't think I have a door in here right now. I should have a door. Oh no, this is an old version of the file. So your file should have a door in there. Because I don't have one, I need to insert it. So I go to Insert, Load Family, Autodesk. Oh gosh, where is this one? This should be Revit 2019, I think. Libraries, US Imperial, doors. So I would do curtain wall double glass. So now if I go back and highlight that panel again, Under properties, I'm going to change it to door, curtain wall, double glass, and that makes my doors. And if I look at it in plan now, those doors will show up. And just like any other doors, I can hit the little flip button and that'll flip it from outside to inside. Okay, do you guys want to try doing that on your own models if you have doors to change so you can see what comes up?
For me, the problem is that the
Yeah.
ones that are already there are not shown in this class.
The doors that are already there are not showing as glass. Oh, so right now, go down here. So right now you have shown previous and new, which I really like doing for plans because it shows me what walls are old and what walls are new. But when you do that for a 3D view, it makes all the old stuff look gray, which is like not the best, right? So you're gonna change this to show complete. And that should, there you go, it's a whole new building. Yeah.
And also, I tried to do it as you suggested, but
Yeah.
it's not, like, you feel like it's a short person, if you're sitting there,
Oh, the view angle. Okay, so let's go try it on high elevation. So change your, so this is saying like, I think it's from the bottom of everything, you know? So your high is not at 64 feet from the floor, it's at 64 feet from like sea level or something. So change this to like 67 feet. So change the floor to a 7 or, yeah, that works too. Hit enter. It's thinking. Okay, so maybe is that too much? I guess I'm wondering, like, this is tricky though, because I want to see like the side of what you built too. So what if we, could you get like more looking this way so you catch some of the window, but also some of the seats?
Mhm.
Or it might just need to be 2 views, but like what if, go back to your plus, is it plus level, right? So try making, go to view, 3D view, view, and then the 3D views under the house. If you put a little down arrow, we got the camera. Try making it from like the back corner out this way. Like that, yeah. And out this way, and extend it like past. A little more this way. Yeah, try that. Yeah. This is the right room, right? So try bringing out the sides of that. And then are we still, you're kind of getting the seats there. Yeah, I don't keep experimenting with it. And maybe the view I'm thinking of doesn't exist. But do you know what I mean? Like I felt like I could see the furniture, but I couldn't see like the view, which felt like the main point. I'm wondering if there's some view that kind of gets you there. I think the other thing about this room is the ceiling feels low for it being this wide. Can you just demolish it and make it higher? Because the floor above you're not using, right? Like there's classrooms above as well. So I think it might make sense for this to be a double height space.
but that's what I don't know why it's showing. Because I did it first on my presentation. So the height is 6 feet.
Okay.
So it's not even that high, but then tall, it should be
To the top. So let's see what your ceiling height's at. So if you select your ceiling, and it might just be that it's such a wide room that it's not high enough, but if you select that, it's at 9.3. Try putting it at 10. I think you might have to demolish the floor above though if you do that. Because I think there's not actually that much space in between floors. Yeah, so now this is like the floor above. So go to your level 3 plan. Be over here. Level 3. over these two rooms, right? Oh, you can actually see the footprint from the ceiling. So I would select the floor. You can kind of get it at the edge usually if you cover over the edge. Try by this edge maybe. Maybe you're by the door kind of. This one. And tap. And tap. Try to get to the floor. Keep going, keep going. Try that. What? Yeah, can you edit boundary? Okay, so here you can change the boundary of the floor to have that be open. And then that'll give you, then you can set the ceiling height where you need it to be. Because if you think about it, if your ceiling height is 10 foot and your seats are 6 foot up, then there's only like 4 feet from, am I doing my math right? Yeah, there's only 4 feet from where the floor is to where the ceiling is, which isn't enough for somebody to walk. Does that make sense? Like you want at least, like low is like 7'6", at least above their head. So you're gonna need to raise that ceiling a little bit, and I think that room will just feel more open and better.
Okay,
So you would just use this line, boundary line, click on that, and then it looks like it starts here. So you could select to there. You can always adjust them later, but you just want that kind of rectangle in there, so you can read that. Yep. Yep. And then you need to split this one, so you're going to use this tool is split. Right here. And then, yeah, you're going to split that line. Yep. And then you use this trim tool, which is there. So trim this side, so click on what you're keeping. So click that, and then click that, and then on the other side as well. Oh, Control Z. And then other side, like up here, so zoom out. Zoom out, and then this and this you're keeping. And then hit the check mark. Here it is on the couch. So now if you cut a section here, so go to view, section, you can cut a section looking this way. Click, and then double click on that, or you might need to right click, and then go to view. It's like the third section down. Keep going up. So now you can kind of see like you have this available space now. It's like all part of your room. So you can bring this all the way up there, you know. Or if you don't feel like you need all that height, just make it where you need to make it. The other thing you can do a sloping ceiling, but I think it might be nice just to have this higher. The one thing that's weird is like the window here, there's 4 between, right? So, I think that's actually gonna be cool because like you'll see that like how this is right from where you are. So I think I would probably bring the ceiling all the way up to there, and then people's view when they look this way, like they're seeing part of this, but it's just kind of like something above.
so would it be like radiation?
You can actually just do NV and move it in this view up to where it wants to be. So you type in NV, remove.
NV?
Yep. And then click on the top. Yep. And then click up here. Wherever you want to get click. There you go. That will all probably now needs to come all the way up. Yeah. So you can just drag that. See where like the little thing is, just drag that up to where it wants to be. And probably like you want to demolish, but there's some cleanup to do.
And going here, what I can do from the wall.
Well, I think you probably want the light from that window, right?
Yes.
I think this, maybe the right thing to do would be extend this out, to extend the ceiling out to here. And then maybe there's some kind of lighting back here, like maybe it's more spotlights, or maybe there's recessed lighting coming up. I'm not sure. Maybe look them out. Yeah, so I think I would have at least that extend, and then you have like very regular lighting here, right? Whereas like this area, I wouldn't put straight down lights because you won't be standing there, right? Like that's just like a light shelf, like light will come in here and bounce back to here. So maybe this just has like a spotlight or something that they can, you know, if there were lights back here, they could backlight people or something like that. Yeah, did you get the curtain over? Yeah, that's it. So it's just that it's dirty. I click on that, like boundary, and drag the bubble up. You're just way too low. Yep. And sometimes that happens. It'll show you the whole project, and you just want to see your floor. And it was right at the top of. Are you on fossil level, or are you working on what level are you on? Okay, so your wall is probably here. Try clicking on that. No, not that. Go back to fossil level or ground level. Sorry, and it's that. Select it, and then see if you go back to there. If you can see it. There it is. It's just little. Oh. We can't see the edges of it though, which is weird. Oh, and this is the other thing that's happening. So right now, this. Wait, let me see. You are here. So on the ground level, this floor is lower here than the floor over here, which is a problem a lot of people had. Because this was a ramp. You remember that? So like if I take a section of this, so view, section, let's look at this whole thing. Like this is ramping down. So you're going to want that door to be like lower. Or unless you're raising it with the map. So it looks like you're going with the slope, right? It looks like you did that intentionally. You did that. Oh, okay. So like this door wants to be, unless you decide to build out the floor. So we can talk about this since a lot of people are having this issue. Then you might want to like move this down to where this is, move that down so you're like meeting the hallway appropriately. But why can't I, the reason why maybe I can't see it, let's see if I can see it. Yeah, I can't see the glass though, which is why I'm confused. So I should be able to see the glass that you put in. Okay, this should show up as glass. But I see a door instead. I'm like, why am I looking at a door? What phase are we in? This is so previous and new construction. Okay, and this elevation. Oh, okay, that's it. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't see it before.
So you go to grid lines?
Yeah, so architecture, grid lines, and over here for grid. And then you just put one in. Try going by the edge, so it goes over. Yeah, there you go. And then you can add in mullions. Like doing architecture mullion, click on the line. You can always change the type factor whatever you want it to be. And then try tabbing and seeing if you can add a door. So hit escape to start. Okay, then come over here and tab, keep going. Keep tabbing. Oh, there, click on that. Okay, and then change that to the door. Use curtain wall double sort. If you want a different kind of door, you need to load it in. Okay.
What's the minimum?
7.6. That's a pretty low ceiling, but that's acceptable. Okay. You have a curtain wall in there. Could you add in a grid?
But regarding the structure of
Okay,
the
so
building, you know,
texture,
I want to make sure I'm working right. Basically, right now, no, right now, yes, I know, yes, I know it's, intimidating a little, but right now, I just put the
so you're
stools.
good.
Right now, I just put the stools down and put placeholders, so.
Okay, so look again.
And, also, the,
Yeah, there are
anything that I've seen from older,
And then if you,
older
click on that,
structures, they kept, beams on the outside.
oh no, so you are, let me see this stuff.
We got, look at always like 48 to the front, so I did it down to 20 to the front. That doesn't matter what size of paper though?
And the last thing, if you hover over a panel, and then hit tab, so you get it. So maybe try by the edge. Tab, tab. But, maybe one more time, sorry. Tab in there. Click. Good. You have the second here, hit tab. That'll be over the edge. Hit tab. Click. Okay, and then over here, click down on properties and change it to current wall. Yep. And you can shift in a different kind of door by loading in a new family. Alright. And how did you do with the curtain wall stuff? That's okay. So what are you doing? What are you working on? Okay. Alright. Okay, so go to this elevation, real quick. If you select it, let's just make sure we can see it. Okay, so you're good. Just like I said, go to architecture, and then grid, and then you need to hover kind of at the bottom for the show up. Go a little closer to the line with the just like you want to be over this one. Yeah, and that's what's facing like the piece of glass. If you want to add a mullion, you go to mullion and click on the center. If you select that and then go to properties, you can change which kind of mullion it is. Your properties disappeared. You're gonna get that. Look, they're right there, perfect. Okay, so you could change it here to a different kind. And then if you want to change a door, if you hover kind of over the bottom there and hit tab, and then click, tab again. You want to let the panel be highlighted. Yep, click. And then click on here. I need to change it. Go out. Let's see. Yeah, curtain wall double storefront. Go down a little bit. Up, go down. There you go. Now the top one. Curtain wall double storefront. Yep, click on that. And then you see the door. And you can change to a single door by loading in a new kind of family. Okay. Okay. Oh, how do you make before? So that's, let me go over that. Yeah. Okay, so the other kind of like big consistent issue I was seeing, and actually let me open up the finished version of this because I think this one I have open doesn't have those floors in there right now. The 3 auditoriums on the bottom floor all have sloped flooring, right? They're not flat. So we need to deal with the level changes when we're adding things into there. Sorry, so I gotta reopen. Hey, how are you? Good. Okay, so it's under downloads. Okay, so again, anytime you're opening a file, make sure you open it through Revit. So open, mine's under downloads, I think. Okay, so on our ground level, we have 3 rooms that have a sloping floor. This kind of like giant V means that that's a sloping floor. The top of the V is the high point. The bottom of the V is the low point. So think of it like if you spill a cup of milk, I think about the milk going down the ramp, right? And like it starts small and it gets bigger. So if I want to figure out like, okay, what's the difference between these two? If I go to annotate, I can get a spot coordinate and click here, and I should be able to do it. Spot coordinate's horizontal. Oh no, I think this is set up different than mine. Hang on. Let's try spot elevation. Okay, so if I click here, so that one's at 48 feet. This is all above sea level, which is kind of wacky, but 48.9, and the bottom of this is at 46.9. So if I do 48 minus 46, there's a 2-foot difference between that point and that point. So now if I'm going to go in here and build a floor, I need to think about, or if I'm going to put in furniture, I need to build a new floor that is flat. So let's say I want to make this into a room, like this area. So I would go to architecture, floor. I'm going to do lightweight concrete on metal deck. And then I'm going to build out this area here. And actually, I'm going to go all the way to here. So it is fine to flatten that out. But what I have to think about is like, okay, how do I get onto this piece, right? Because before this was all sloping down and now it's flat. So really, I need like 5 foot in front of the door for people to kind of step into the room, and I can add a door here. So I'm going to come out, like, let's even do, I'll do 5 feet. 5 feet here, and then I need to kind of close this up. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this line so I'm not looking at it. So now my new floor is all flat and it's all at this elevation. I can double check that if I go to annotate, spot elevation. Yep, so this is all now one level. The problem is my entrance over here is still lower, right? Like I still need to get down to that. So I want to look at like what level do I need to get down to in order to use those steps. So I'm going to do another spot elevation over here, and that's my 46 feet. So I need to come down 2 feet. So let's see if that's possible. Does anybody remember how far can I go for every foot of ramp? I can go down 1 inch for every 12 inches. Yep. So 1 inch. So to go down 2 feet, how much ramp do I need? And I have to think about this. Okay, so I'm going down 2 feet, which is 24 inches. And it takes me 12 feet to go down 1 inch. So that means I need 24 feet of ramp. So all of that is going to have to ramp. So I think what I'm going to need to do is I need to move these stairs out a little bit because I need it to go flat for 5 feet before stairs start. Which doesn't work great. Some of this is like existing buildings never are that cooperative, right? Because like old building codes were different. So I think maybe what we could do here, because the other thing is like you want space before the door, right? But let's show this by moving. Okay, so we're going to do a ramp. So I'm going to go to architecture, ramp. And here I'm starting at ground level and I'm going down -2 feet. Or sorry, my base level is 0 feet, or other way around. My base level is -2 feet. And then my top level is going to be ground level, but 0 feet. And then hit apply. And now I'm going to start here. And it's going to show me how much ramp I need. The other thing that this doesn't really work is because you can only go 20 feet before you need to flatten out again. So I think what I really need to do is like make a wider ramp. This is a more complicated problem than I was anticipating. Okay, so let's make a couple of lines to help us to start with. So I know that I have 24 feet of ramp that needs to happen. And I know that I need 5 foot of landing here. So I'm going to do a detail line, DL, just to kind of help me lay things out. I'm going to copy this over 5 feet. And this is going to be my landing. I'm going to build a floor at my landing. So I'm going to go to floor, -2 feet. I'm going to build my landing here. And hit the check mark. Okay, so this is the landing I'm trying to get to. Now I'm going to go back to architecture, ramp. I need to think about how I'm going to lay this out. So I need to be able to like turn around basically. So if I come here, let's say I can go 20 feet. So let's say, how about I go 18 feet? Well, but I need to leave 5 feet here as well. Okay, I need one more line to help me. So I'm going to take my 5 and 5 here and copy them over here so I know how much landing space I need. Okay, almost there. So now I go back to ramp. Starting here, make sure it says -2 feet at the base. Clicking here. So I'm going to come all the way to this line. Then I'm going to click over here. I'm going to make the rest of my ramp. And right now it's going all the way to plaza level, which I don't need. So let me fix that. So again, ramp. It should be -2 feet here. And then the top should be at ground level with a 0 offset. Okay, so starting here. Coming as far as I can. Then I know I need a landing. And then I'm coming back as far as I need to go. And then I hit my check mark. So what this is telling me is that I need to configure this room differently in order to get down to the elevation I need. So I'm going to go to edit boundary. I'm going to change this to here. I'm going to move this up here. Split this. Hit my check mark. So now to get to the exit, I come into the room and then I would come over here and then go down the ramp this way. And then I would exit here. Sorry, that was a little bit convoluted. But what that gets me is it gets me a flat floor in here, which is what my goal was. And it also gives me the ability to exit out flat here. Now that I know this is like this, I'm probably just going to extend that floor just so it's not weird. And then the slanting floor, I can demolish. So I would come down here and hit phase demolish new construction. Okay, do you guys have questions about that? Sorry, that's kind of long.
Is it possible to just get rid of the stairs altogether and put them with the ramp?
And make it a bigger ramp? Well, the issue is I think this is really low over here. So if I do architecture, annotate, spot elevation. Maybe I can. Let me take a section through there. Oh,
It's interesting.
so this is why you should always cut a section before you may start making assumptions. So in this room, it turns out the level here is higher. So they have those stairs in there because they dug out the floor. So yeah, I didn't need to do any of this. So this, basically, if I flatten my floor, I get rid of those stairs. Good catch, Tori. Thank you.
I was gonna ask if we could do that, because that's what I did. I just did a model in place floor, and then I just filled it in with an extrusion,
Okay.
like straight across.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. In my head, this was lower than that. But if it's not, you don't have to do all that. I don't think that's true everywhere, though. Like here, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure the floor out here is lower. Like, there's a level change from here to here. So you need to kind of make that up. Make that up if you use that door. The other way to do it is say, like, okay, in this whole area over here, I'm flattening out this floor, and then I'm going to raise up everything over here as well, and this exit's going to be raised up. So I think, like, wherever you are in your plan, I just want you to go through and make sure that you don't have any doors that are opening into ground, right? You want to make sure that, like, everything is at an appropriate level, that, like, this connection is flat in between there. Because right now there's, like, a ramp down to here, so I think this is lower overall. Like, this space is lower than this space. In here right now, they have, like, the floor is high over here, and then there's stairs down here, so you might be able to go across and make it flat. So let's check the section on that. So this one, it looks like you could get rid of the floor and flatten it out. You could deal with it that way. What about at this door? I don't think there's stairs on this side. Yeah, on this side there are no stairs. The floor is just lower out here, so that's something that you need to kind of deal with. Okay. Are you ready to look at curved walls?
I believe so.
Okay, so I was doing that on plaza level, and I'm going to rebuild that little bump out quick. So let's make sure I'm on new construction. Okay, I'm on new construction. I'm going to demolish the curtain wall that's there. Okay, and then I go to architecture wall. I'm using 16-inch. I'm coming out 15 feet. Coming down to my second grid line. Coming back. You notice that my plan disappeared over here. To make that appear, I need to change my crop region. So I would come down to my visibility bar at the bottom, put on my crop region, bring out this bubble so I can see that line. I also am going to want to bring out my grid lines. So if I select here, I can drag that grid line and it'll bring them all with it. So it goes past my new bump out. I want to make sure that my walls here are all going up to the level I want. So if I go over here, they're going up to level 3. And that's great. Okay. I'm going to put a new floor there. So architecture floor, I'm going to do 6-inch concrete slab, draw that in. I'm going to put in a roof. So if I go to roof, the base level for that's going to be level 3. And I'm going to go ahead and draw that in. I'm going to highlight it and make sure that those don't define slope. So all those little triangles go away and hit my check mark. So now we should be caught up to where we were before. Oh, with the exception of one more thing, the join here was weird if I remember. So if I go to my 3D view, make sure this is showing new construction. Here you see my bump out. It looks like my floor placed lower than I wanted it to. So if I click on my floor, I want to check that my height offset is 0 feet. And it looks like it actually managed to kind of solve that. If you're in your 3D view, you might want to go to your properties and click on your face filter to show complete. So that way it doesn't do the gray thing. It shows you everything with its material in there. So I think mine actually is happy with that. So I'm just going to go with that. Okay. So now to create a curved window here, I'm going to do it as a model in place family. So model in place families are similar to normal families you would make, but they only exist in your model. They don't exist as their own family file. So under component, you click the down arrow, go to model in place. I'm going to define this as a window. It's important to define what you're building so that you can control the visibility of it later. And then I'm going to build this window as a sweep because I want it to be a curve, and I can't really do that without that. So I'm going to go, or I could do it as an extrusion. Does it sweep the corner, or is it just a curved window on the edge? Like, what's the edge condition look like?
Could you
draw it?
could you re-ask that
Yeah.
question?
So like, is this like a curved window that kind of lives here as a bump out, and the edge of it looks like that, or is it something that like turns the corner?
It's just a bump out.
It's just a bump out. Okay. So since it's just a bump out, I can build it as an extrusion. So I would go to extrusion. Important thing is to set your plane. So your plane is what you're drawing the flat thing on. So I do set plane. I'm going to do pick a plane, and then I would select my sidewall. Then this is where I really want to be looking in a section view. So if I'm going to go back to my plaza level, and I really need to create my view ahead of time, I think. So I'm going to go back to my my 3D and make something for now, and then I can correct it in section later. So I can use this pick tool to pick my outer wall, and then I'm going to select this to pick my roof line. I'm going to use my trim tool to kind of bring this together, and then I'm going to use this fillet tool to get this angle that I want here. I'm going to offset this for glass. So let's say I'm going to offset it like 1/2 inch to the inside. So I probably don't want my window to go all the way to the ground. I just want it to go part of the way. So I'm going to bring this up. Maybe, let's say it comes up 2 feet. And then from the side, I don't want it to become like a full skylight. So I'm just going to shift that over until it feels about right. Maybe I'll bring it to like here. Okay, so I'm going to hit the green check mark. And then you'll see like it starts to make this extrusion, which defines my glass piece. Okay. This, of course, is just, the glass is only one part of the window, right? I still need to make the boundary of it. I still need to make the kind of the mullions that help define it, and I need to make a cutout for it. So I can make a, let's check if this works. I'm not 100% sure this will work. I can create a void form. So if I select void form, void extrusion, I'm going to set my plane again, pick a plane, select that wall that I was using. And then now I want to basically tell it like how much of the wall I want to cut out. So I know I want to cut out from the end of this glass piece to the end of that glass piece. So I'm going to use my trim tool to bring those together. And then I want this to come out this way. So why I'm not sure this is going to work is I think it might only want to cut things in my model in place family. So if this doesn't work, we're going to do something else. Yeah, that's not going to work. Okay, Control Z. So I'm just going to modify my wall after instead. So now that I have this in, I'm going to hit Finish Model. And I'm going to change this by using a wall cutout. So if I go to Wall Opening, I can select the wall, draw my wall opening. And if I select the opening itself, this works similar to an extrusion that I can kind of move these guys. And now my glass is coming through. For my ceiling here, I need to make this a little higher so it pops through. Okay. And then I need to change my roof footprint so that it's not intersecting with it. So edit footprint, align that to that, hit the check mark. Okay, now I want to edit the profile of these side walls so that it meets that nicely. So edit profile. And you can decide whether you want this piece to be glass or you want that to be wall, right? So for this, I'm assuming it wants to be wall. So I'm picking the sides of that glass piece if it lets me. And I have to be really careful that I'm always selecting like either the inside or the outside because it always wants to have a closed kind of final thing. Actually, I think I want this to. Oh, they're open on one end. Where? Okay. So this doesn't look like glass yet, so I'm going to come back into this piece, go to Edit in Place. I can select this and change my material here to glass. Thinking maybe it'll do it. Okay. So now that's in there. I want the other wall to look at the same. I don't really feel like redrawing it, so I'm just going to copy this one over. So if I go back to my plaza level plan, I can reflect it using the mirror tool and use that middle one, and that'll reflect right onto that line. Okay, so now to add in divisions in this. So I'm going to go to architecture, I'm going to click on this. Edit in Place. And here I am going to use a sweep. So I'm going to pick path and I'm going to select, actually, let me first, I wasn't very careful with how far my extrusion went. I really just wanted to stop the walls. So I'm going to use the Align tool to align my extrusion to the inside of those walls. As you can see, like building something by custom is always a lot more fuss than popping in the family, right? Like this is kind of annoying, but it's a little bit like Rhino, right? Where you're like making extrusions and making cutouts and things. But often there isn't a family that does what you want it to do. Okay, so next thing is creating the mullion. So if you go to create sweep, you can pick the path, which is what you want to do when you're working in 3D. So I'd select pick path, and I'm going to go ahead and select where I want my mullions to be. So right now I'm doing all the edges around. The path needs to be closed. So I need to make sure that this is all closed all the way around. And then I would hit my check mark. Okay, and the next thing I want to do is select profile. And then if I click on profile, it'll tell me profiles that are already in the project. So like I already have a circular handrail profile. I already have a square handrail profile that's 1 inch. I already have a thickened slot. These are all like ones that are already built in. I can either pick one of these. Let's see what happens if I do that. Let's say I pick the rectangular handrail 2 inch by 3 inch. So that'll pop that in, and you can see that that edge is now built out. It has like some substance to it. I can also like change. If I select that, right now it's kind of popping under there. I can flip it. You should be able to flip it. I can flip it. I should be able to flip and offset it. So I should be able to do like 3 inches over, 3 inches up, and hit check. Okay, so now it's like popping more outside. So that's one way I can do it. The other thing is I can make a custom one. So if I go edit sweep again, I could select profile. Under profile, hit not by sketch, and then hit edit profile. And then here I can draw whatever I feel like. So I could do, this great hexagon, and it'll make the hexagon that whole sweep all the way around it. Once I have those in place, I then want to do sweeps to define the mullions here. So I would do another create sweep, pick path. This time I'm only selecting that piece, just the vertical piece, and I can drag this up so it doesn't come all the way up. Drag this up so it doesn't come all the way up. Hit check, and then I can edit profile. I can draw in a profile, whatever it is. Hit my check mark, and then once I have that, I can copy it over. So if I go to my plaza level plan, I can see that right here, and that's probably not what I want, so maybe I should edit this quick. Edit sweep. It kind of came out at a funky angle. So I'm going to go back to pick path, and I'm going to delete the weird parts of the path for a second, just because I want like an easier thing to draw on. It's still at an angle. I'm going to select my path again. So I'm going to do pick through the edges. And I think it's because I was like selecting the edge of the octagon. So I wonder if I can get the edge of the glass instead. Okay, that looks better. Okay, so now I can do select profile, edit profile, maybe make this a little bit more like that, hit check mark. Okay, so now I can copy it over wherever I want it. So if I go back to plaza level, I'm going to move it over 4 feet. Oh, it's not letting me move it. That's so annoying.
Yeah.
But if you want to doing a different model in place.
Yeah, it might make me, it'll let me mirror it, but it won't let me copy it. If I mirror it and then copy it, can I do it? Yeah. So right now, this one is like locked to the plane it was built on. So I need to break that association in order to modify it. So what I did was I mirrored it around the center line, and that kind of broke the association, and then I'm able to move this. And I can put it every 4 feet. And I actually want to delete that one on the side because I don't need it because I already have my side mullion in there. And I can delete this one as well. I can do a multiple copy. Okay, and then I can just kind of use these to get that spacing all equal all the way around. Okay, so there is my my little bumped out window. Make sure you always, I think I already did this, that you click the green check button to get out of it. And if I ever want to edit it again, I can always select it and go back to edit in place. Okay, let me look at that list. What else are we missing? Celeste, you were having trouble adding materials, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can I take a look at which ones the materials weren't working with?
Yeah.
You can drag these out to see the whole thing, as opposed to changing your view of what they down. Yeah, just your middle mouse button. Yeah, and then just click on the outside border again and drag those out so you can see your whole thing. Okay. So primary listing fields. Okay. Okay, so that's the coarse crochet material, which is like not, that only shows up in coarse view, so that one's not going to help you. So hit cancel and hit OK. Select the chair. Go to edit family. And then that is on coarse view, so select it and that. And select the chair itself. Oh, and you don't want, you're showing that, right? You don't want that. Right? So select that and delete it. So basically, your chair has 3 different ways to look at it depending on the detail level that you have it at. So they show like that as like the ground, like these are the overall dimensions. Just for placement because it like helps speed up your model and makes it more simple. But like I think it's confusing. So if you select that now, it looks like they have a material and it's tied to something. So let's go back over here. So crop this one, parameters. And then material name upholstery. Okay, that looks like it's all there. Okay. Yeah, let's forgot this was. And yes, or no. Okay, so you need to override. So change your view detail here to fine. It's on medium right now, and we just deleted the thing that should have been medium. So it's not fine. Okay, and then now go back to the material type. So select it, edit type, or it should be in the top. Oh, cover that. Select the inside sphere properties. So Go to view, user interface, properties, click on that. Okay. Click on that again, and then zoom down, see it. Oh, sorry. And there, go up. Nope, so type. And then material and building, so click on that. Street. And click on the, that's a text, that's not cool. Okay, we need to go back to the family, I'm sorry. I assumed they made that material. So go to edit family.
I'll give you the wall section.
Click on that again, let me just see what they type to. Oh, we're gonna, I don't like how this is built, so we're gonna really change how it's built. So make a new parameter, click on that. And call this one, like chair material. Do you want to change the base or you just change the top? This is fine. Okay, and then type and change the type of parameter to material. And hit okay. Okay again. Then select this. Click on that little thing next to it, the little dash tools, and change it to go down. Okay, now it's in the close. Now. Overlay. Yeah. So that one is like built to only show the fabric. Okay, so I go to edit type. And then you should have your chair material, so here is my category, click on that. And now whatever you want to do. Well, let's make it work. Yeah, just pick something else and make sure it works. There's always like some. No, just like
We're already teaching the going on, and we don't know what exactly the name of the person yet. So,
yeah, is everything else making okay?
I want to try to do what you just did, and then
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any other troubleshooting things?
basically, it's like, just go this way. This is what.
Yeah, so if you want to make a different kind of stair. So, stairs can get kind of complicated. You kind of got to decide what you want to do with it. For this, I'm going to put my plaza level on as well so I can see where I'm going. So on underlay, I'm going to come over here to underlay and change my range to be plaza level. And that kind of shows me, like, I know I'm coming out to this point. Now I'm going to architecture, stair. And over here, I want to make sure I get everything like set how I want it before I start making my stair. So I wanted to go from ground level to plaza level. Okay, and that's all good actually. I can make a monolithic stair, or I can change it to a precast stair, or an assembled stair. An assembled stair is like it has a metal stringer and then like wood risers, versus a cast in place stair is like all concrete, right? So it's like one piece or multiple pieces. So I'm gonna do a monolithic stair for now. So there's a lot of preset ones, which is nice because they're like easy to use. So if I come over here to, they have like spiral ones you can put in. So you can do center end spiral, and then you would just give it like where you want it to start. And then you can kind of like come out the radius you want it to be. And then like, it'll show you how many steps you need. So I need this many steps. And if I hit check mark, it'll then build it and I can look at it in 3D. So I'm just waiting for it to build it. And so let me go to my 3D view, and I need to alter it a little bit because we were looking at this piece of the building and now we're moving. So it should have built over here somewhere. Oh, okay, I'm at the 3rd floor, I think. Okay, so that made like a little spiral step that goes here, right? And I can move this over so it goes to the right place. So if I go back to my ground level, it was a lot shorter than I thought it needed to be. So it needs to come only to there, I think. And if I then go to my 3D view, I can see it. Okay, so that's one way to make a curved stair. But let's say I want like a really crazy, different kind of stair. Or let's first add landings to this, then do that. So let's say I want to do multiple landings within this stair. So I would come back to ground level, go to stair. I can do this kind of curvy one again, but this time I'm going to start my run. So start it here. I'm going to tell it I want to start here, come this far. Then I'm going to take a break and then restart it here. Make sure that dash line shows up. Otherwise, it's not going to connect cleanly. And then I can click and I can make the rest of my stair. It's thinking about it. And so that built this stair here, which is kind of wacky, right? It's like got this, it starts here, it goes flat, and then it keeps going up. Okay. If I then, maybe that's like not exactly what I was envisioning. So if I go back to my ground level, I can go to edit stairs, and then I can select these and convert them. So if I select, or I think I do one at a time. If I select it, I'm going to hit convert. Select this, hit convert. Select this, hit convert. So what that does for me, if I now hit edit sketch, it breaks this down into individual pieces that I can adjust. So for example, the green is the outer limits of my stair. Each of these is a step. This defines the run. Every step needs to end in a green line. This run needs to end and start on a step, otherwise it won't work. So let's say I come over here. If I want to make another new boundary, let's say I want it to like, I don't know, oops, make a new one. I want to do like a cloud shaped step. This would probably not be illegal the way I'm drawing it, but I'm doing a weird cloud shaped step. I could then alter each of these steps and have them extend all the way to my new cloud shape. And then I could hit my check mark. And if I look in 3D, I now have these like wacky cloud shaped steps. I can do the same thing with my landing. So if I go back over to my ground level, I can select this, edit sketch. Same thing with landing. Even though it's flat, it has a boundary all the way around, and you still need to show the run kind of going all the way through it. So I could make this boundary a lot smoother. So maybe it's, I think it could just be like a giant, let's see, but if it's like a curve from here to here. I need to make sure I switch to stair path when I am drawing the middle line. Otherwise, it won't be right. I think I can even just show it straight for this, like that. Okay, so now I have that. And then for these guys, I'm going to go edit sketch. And let's say I actually decided I want these to go more straight. So I would change my boundary here. the key is like why I don't like doing stairs by sketch is when I do it this way, I know they're all the right size. If I'm going to do it this way, I need to actually like count and stuff, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I know I need to make 11. So I'm going to delete all these. So and now I'm going to copy this. And I need it to be 11 inches. This looks like it's not actually straight, so I'm going to draw a new one. I need to make sure I'm drawing on my boundary layer or my riser layer when I'm doing that. Okay, so I'm going to make that end in the green line, and I'm going to copy this. 11. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to make sure the boundary lines end in the last step. I'm going to delete this crossing boundary line. I need to add a stair path line from here to here, and then hit my check mark. Now I'm going to hit my check mark. And it's thinking. The rail is not continuous. Okay, so it didn't like, it tries to automatically make a railing, and it didn't like my stairs. So, but actually the railing doesn't look too bad. I think it just had to break it in a few places to make my weird stair. But there's that is. So there's like the out of the box options, and then if you need to change it, you would convert and edit the sketch. And you just need to make sure that the boundary, the riser lines, and the stair path are all in the right places for that. Okay, any more troubleshooting? Yeah. So is that should be the most recent? Let's go to where's the save? Don't find that the most recent one. Saved it 1018, so it's not that recent. Yeah, this one says was saved at 1035, so that's not recent. But I guess it didn't save automatically enough. Yeah, I'm sorry. Save. Okay, last troubleshooting. Okay, let's take I need like a 10-minute break, and then I want to go over the new stuff, so changing graphics. Okay, so I'll be back here at 11, with 11:30, we'll start the graphic stuff, okay? Also, my mom gave my 2-year-old an absurd amount of Easter candy, which obviously she can't eat. So it's on my desk, like on the top shelf, and you guys are welcome to have it. Yeah. It's nothing that exciting. It's just like, jelly beans and chocolate.
looking at the green.
Oh, you need it to show the floor above. Yep, that's a special thing. So you're going to go to view. You're gonna make what's called a plan region. So under plan views, click down. And then there's plan region, third one down. Yep, click on that. Now you're gonna make an outline that's just the outline of your room.
But is it saying possible?
It'll still work. So yeah. Or actually, why don't you just make a bigger one for now so we can see? So make a rectangle and just kind of make a big plan region, and then we can like adjust it in a minute. So come out, zoom out, because I think it goes further, right? So click there, and then click all the way down to there. So click. Yep. And then hit the check mark. And then here, go to view range edit. And then here, change the top there. Make it roof. Or did we make level 4? We must have level 4. Make it level 4. Sorry about that. And then top plane. I think that's still, well, change the cut plane to the number above, so level 3. And then bottom is fine. And then view level, change that to level 4. Let's see what it looks like and apply. Here you go. So right now, it's basically anything within that boundary, it's showing like that different view range we described, which is higher up. So if, like right now, it looks like it's cutting off part of the, does your wall actually go there, or is it in the wrong room right now?
Yeah,
Okay, so then you're fine, then it's good. And you can hide this line, so if you click on it, right click then, and do hide in view element. Okay, there you go.
and what if I already have a roof? Is it? I don't know what we just did.
Oh, so we'll be, hang on, let me get a chair. So, all we did in that plan was change what we were looking at. So the view range controls like a normal plan, a normal RCP, you cut it 7 feet and you look up, right? So in there we said, okay, but in this little area of my drawing, I want you to cut on the floor above and look up, because that RCP is higher, right? So that's what we did there. We didn't change, so it's just a visual trick, like nothing in your model has changed. So it's almost as if like you cut a window in the paper and it looks farther now.
Okay, perfect. So then here I can modify the roof.
So the roof is on the level, do you mean the ceiling or the roof?
Oh, the ceiling.
Yes, you can modify the ceiling from there. So if you hit tab around the ceiling, it's where it's hard to get the boundary, but if you hit tab, you should be able to get it. Yeah, click. And then you can do edit boundary and change it.
Is there a way that I can do like the roofing except
So you want that part filled in? What's this though? Is this like a wall plan?
yeah, I don't know how well. So I added this house.
Because those aren't there. Or are they?
Because the windows is not. The window is
Okay.
so.
Right. Yeah, so that's fine. So you want your ceiling to stop at that wall, right? Like you really want it to cut here.
Yes.
Okay. So go back to your RCP. So I get that boundary again. and then go to edit boundary.
What time is supposed to be back?
11:30. Need more time than that?
I was grabbing food at the thing. And
Okay, I'll wait till you come up. So
So what is it?
you can use your little selector and just select it inside your wall. And then you can use your trim tool here. Yeah. And you select on what you're keeping. So you're keeping that, you're keeping that. And you're keeping this, you're keeping that. So it's like closer to that, yeah. Thank you. And I just need to make sure this, like, this line will go away. If you want, like, a continuous outline or something, basically. And then the green check mark. Yeah. So it won't change anything in this view, right? Oh, we did, sorry, so I'm not thinking, so. Yeah, no, it's good. The one thing, when I modified your tool boundary, I got rid of the 4 here, and really that would still be there. So we need to add that back in, I apologize for that. So if you go back, you see right now there's like a hole.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so go back to your, I'm trying to go view would be best. I guess your 3rd level floor plan. And then select the floor boundary again. So we got that by kind of hovering over the edge there. Actually, that tab. Try that. Oh, let's try again. Sorry, tab. Yeah, tab again. Nope. Sorry, it's always hard to tell. There you go. Okay, I'm going to do edit boundary. You're good. Just edit boundary. So you want to reconnect across here. So you can use this tool. Yeah.
So what I can
from here over there. And then you're going to delete like this line. Wait, do you know? Yeah, so you're going to delete those 2 lines and then reconnect those 2 across. Yeah. And then just signature mark. No. Okay, so go back to 3D and see if that gets better. Yeah, so now that's like closed off of it briefly. Does that make sense? But you won't, like, it'll just be a light shelf, so like when I look at that, kind of comes out that. So in this view, it's not like you see it really, but yeah, I think that looks better. It just gives you a little more breathing room for everybody, you know? Well, so much of it's that we're working in plan, right? So it's not until you get into sections that you start looking at heights and realizing like what works and what doesn't work. But the nice thing about this building is that it's all concrete, so it's pretty easy to modify. I'm wondering, like, what is this? That's the column going up?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that has to stay. I was like, I'm trying to get rid of that. I wonder if maybe bring the ceiling down just a little bit more to hide that piece. I know I brought it all the way up, but you see, like, you can see this. It might be nicer if the ceiling was just like another, I don't know, what, 6 inches lower. So you can select it in this view. And then height offset. So make this like, let's try 17 feet and see what happens. Is that not too low? Yeah, too low. Okay, so let's do it again. Sorry. I tried 18 feet. I don't know. Maybe it was fine before. But it's not, I guess we can't get it. This must be at window height, right? So we'll see that no matter what. Okay, so you can just control Z. That's okay. Figure it out.
Yes, for the rubric, I think it was that.
Yeah, the last rubric.
Is that where you, I think
That
there
was-
was something that, was that for submission
was for-
on Friday or?
That was the last one. That was for the connect we had on Monday. I was just going through it to explain like how I was thinking about it.
Oh,
And I'll use almost the same thing for the final for those things. There'll just be more in there, right? But won't just be clear. It'll also be elevations and yeah, so that's just okay, let me know. Yeah, let me know.
thank you.
Okay, so you guys ready to go with the new stuff? All right. So I would like you to navigate to a plan view. So right now I'm in my ground level view. So there's visibility and graphics. Basically, for so far, we've mainly been working on our 3D model, right? So here's our 3D model. Everything is modeled in here. But in a plan, there are certain things you might want to show or not show depending on what kind of plan it is. So a really easy example of this is I might want to show an architectural floor plan to get people oriented and then have a separate finished floor plan that shows my floor finishes. So, or I might want to have a separate furniture plan that shows my furniture. And right now, this plan is just kind of showing everything. So in order to control that, I use something called visibility graphics. And to get to there, you type in either VV or you can type in VG. Both do the same thing. So the command is VV or VG. Let me see if I can turn off just this light. Okay. It's not much at all. Doesn't help a ton. Is it too dark? Are you okay with that? Okay. Okay. So In VV and VG, there are these tabs at the beginning, and they split things up. So for example, the first one is model categories. Model categories is anything that's a modeled element. So that means a floor, a wall, a stair, things that you can see in 3D view. The next one is annotation categories. Annotations are things like the room tags, or lines you draw in 2D. What else are we going to use? Filled regions. So anything that's like not a real building element, but is something that's being drawn in a plan is an annotation. So that's where we control the buildability of those. Analytical model categories you will not use. Imported categories. So sometimes you need to go to imported categories if you have a visibility issue in a family or in a linked model. So we probably won't need to use that, but that's what that is. And filters, we're also not going to use just because I feel like that's like the next step. So we're going to leave filters off for now. So mostly we're going to be in model yes.
Is this being recorded? Or
Yes.
recording?
It should be being recorded. I can double check that it's still going. Yeah, it's still going. And hopefully it's still recording. Yes. Okay. I think it's better today. Normally it like goes in and out. Okay. So mostly we'll be in model categories and annotation categories. So let's say, for example, that I want this to be my floor plan, and I don't want to see any patterns for the floor finishes in it. So I want to turn off the pattern of my floor finishes. So I'm going to come over here to the visibility category and look for floors. And then under floors, I can see that there's like a couple of different things I can control the visibility of. The lines, the patterns, the transparency, the cut. So if I have a cut through a floor, how it appears, and I can make it halftone. So what I want to change is the pattern of the floor. So I'm going to click under pattern, click override, and I'm going to make the foreground and background patterns invisible. So I'm going to uncheck the visible things and hit OK. And then I'm going to hit apply. And you can see that now I can't see the concrete on here. The stairs, though, you'll notice I still see it, right? Because the stairs are a different category. So to get the stairs off, I would need to find it under visibility, go to stairs, hit the plus sign. Actually, don't hit the plus sign. Sorry about that. Come over to patterns, go override, and undo the foreground and background patterns, and then hit OK. Okay, so now I have maybe more simple floor plans. Right now, I have on an underlay. Like you can see, do you see in light gray, you see the other floor? Sometimes that's really helpful. So for example, one time we use that is in RCPs. If you want to be able to see like the table underneath the pendant you're putting in, you can do an underlay of the furniture below or the plan below. But for this, I think it's confusing. So I'm just going to turn off my underlay. So I'm going to come over here to floor plan. Underlay is over here, and I'm going to put on none. Okay, so next thing I think would really help is I kind of like these, my new walls to have a dark poche. I think that's helpful for me. I'm going to come down here, make sure, I'm actually in an existing phase. I'm going to change this to be under new construction, and then phase filter, I'm going to have show previous and new. Okay, so I want to change what my new walls look like. So I'm going to type in VV, and then I'm going to look for my walls. So I'm looking under visibility, looking for walls. And then my walls are cut generally. Like I only want to show poche where the wall is cut, correct? That's like indicating that I'm cutting it, I'm looking at it, that's what I want to be darkest. So I'm going to come over here under cut, and I'm going to override it so that the pattern is solid, and I'm going to make the color black, and then hit OK, and hit apply. And that was just for the line, so I need to do the same thing for the pattern. So over here, do solid fill, and I can just do a foreground pattern for solid fill. The foreground background is like if you have a pattern that has like flecks in it, it'll make the flecks one color and the background of it another color if you want, but we're not doing that. So just foreground, solid fill, and then hit OK, and then hit apply. And
What was the mileage for the line graphics?
I don't know if I put one in. I think I didn't override it. So we can override that though. So if I go to floor, oh, not floors, walls. I like my, I didn't put it in. I have no override. So anytime you do no override, it'll do the defaults. I like mine to be at 5 or 6. So I'm going to put it at 5 and hit OK. So you'll notice that nothing changed. And the reason for that is because all these are existing walls. So if I were to build a new wall right now, it'll come up as black. But I think for this project, I still want my existing walls to be a little bit more visible. They're a little too invisible here. So there's a different place I changed that, which is annoying but true. So to change that, I'm going to go to Manage, Phases. And then here there's a thing called Graphic Override. So I would click on that. And here under Existing, you'll notice that it has the patterns as hidden. I'm going to change that and have them as visible. But I'm going to put it at halftone. So let's see how that looks. I'm going to hit OK. So now I have all those walls in there, but they're at halftone. I don't like that I can't, I don't love that. I think they're a little bit too difficult to see. So I'm going to change that again. So the nice thing is like you can always like hit it, and if you don't like it, it's really easy to change, right? So I would go back to Manage, Phases, Graphic Overrides. So here I'm going to change my, oh, I messed that up. Phase filters, no. Graphic Overrides. Okay, so I'm going to take off the halftone. I'm going back to patterns. I'm actually just going to change the color. So instead of having it be that black, I'm going to make it this gray color. Okay. And then anything else in here I want to change? Let's see, what's this coming up as? Solid. I think I'm okay with that. And I'm going to hit apply and see what that looks like. So now I kind of have like my existing walls are showing up as a light gray and my new walls are showing up as a black. I think I'd actually like to see the outline of these walls a little bit better. So I'm going to change that color back to black. So I'm going to go back to its view. Sorry, it's not view. It's Manage, Phases, Graphic Overrides. And here I'm going to change my line. Right now it has an override on the color and the weight. I'm going to change the color to be black, or I'm going to hit no override and hit OK, and then OK. And that'll bring kind of a dark black outline back to my existing walls. So new walls are going to show up as black. Existing will be gray with a black outline.
Can you show us how you get the fill part again? What is it?
Yeah, for the old new stuff or for in general?
For the existing, the full shading.
For the existing, yeah. So for existing, you would go to Phases, Graphic Overrides, and then here under Patterns, you click on this, and then you change just the color override to that gray. That'll only work. So the reason you just change the color override is we want it to still have what, like if I were to do the color override and a pattern override to solid for everything and hit apply, it's going to make like everything filled in. And we just want like walls and call-ups or whatever we have in our plan to be filled in existing. So I'm going to change this back to no override. So if they are not coming up as solid, it might be that new walls come up as solid yet. Let me see. Okay, so type in BB and then go down walls. Okay, and so you're overriding the cut here, override to solid, and then color is black. And then hit OK. And then hit OK, hit OK. And I said, what's a new wall? Can you type VV again? Let's see what's going on. Go down. Oh, sorry. Pattern not lines. So black, and then over here solid, and then hit OK. There you go. And so that's one way to show your plan. If you don't want to show it that way, you do not have to. Right? It's all a matter of choice, like how you want it to show up. So I mentioned that there might be different plans that you want other things to show up on. So let's say that I'm going to make this my general plan. I don't think I have any furniture in here right now, so I'm going to pop some in just to demonstrate something. So I'm going to go to component, place a component. Hopefully there's a chair. No chairs in here. Okay, I'm going to load in a chair. Insert, load family. Okay, so this is my extremely developed furniture plan here. I have the same thing in every spot. All right, this is just to demonstrate how you might want. So you might want a plan that doesn't show furniture and then one that does, right? So right now this plan, I don't want it to show furniture. It is showing furniture. So I'm going to type in VV and then uncheck furniture here. And then hit OK. So that'll all disappear. And then if I want a separate furniture plan, I'm going to right click on here, hit duplicate view, duplicate with detailing, and I'm going to rename it. And then in this one, I would go back to VV and I would turn my furniture back on and then hit OK. And so I can have like those two different kinds of plans. But one can show my furniture, one cannot show my furniture. Let's say I want to also show floor finishes in this plan. That might get too busy, but like it's something you can experiment with. If I wanted to do that, I would hit VV. And then you'll remember we hid the floor finishes. Here I'm going to bring them back. So I'm going to come over here and hit visible, hit OK, hit OK. And now I can see my concrete again. I haven't built any other floors in here, but if I were to build them, so if I go to architecture, floor, let's add in some carpeting in places. How I like to do this, I like to just make a new floor type that's 1/4 of an inch thick, set it up 1/4 of an inch off the floor so that it shows up. So I'm going to make a new floor. So edit type, duplicate. I'm going to call this carpet, hit OK. I'm going to go to my structure, make it 1/4 inch thick. Go to my material here. And I'm going to put in a new material. I'm going to rename this new carpet. Under graphics, I'm going to give that a pattern so that I can see it. So under surface pattern, I'm going to make my carpet pattern. It can be whatever you want it to be, honestly. You just want it to look different enough that like you can see it. So I'm going to do steel for this. Hit OK. Sometimes I like to make my patterns gray so that like the walls and the floors still stand out from each other. So that's, again, it's a personal preference. And then under appearance, this is where I would pick my material. So I would click on, I could do an image for it. I don't know if I have one. I don't think I have a carpet in here. So I'm just going to open up whatever I have in here, whatever image I have. Oh, it's going to be a rendering of a rhino thing as my carpet. That's not great. Let me download something fast. So I'm going to go to Shaw contract. Go to products, carpet tile. click on one. Hit download high res asset, click on this one or whichever one you want. And then you would save and continue. And I want this one, JPEG, save and continue. Oh my gosh, so many questions. This is asking you what pattern you want this to be in. Monolithic, brick, ashlar, whatever. I'm going to do brick, download assets. Okay, so now that should be saved under download. So if I come back over here, I can click on this again and pick that. So it should be downloads, this one, open. I can click on here to change the scaling of it. So right now that's a 1 by 1 foot. And I think this tile is actually much bigger because it's showing me like a couple of tiles together. So I'm going to change the pattern to be 4 feet by 4 feet. Hit done. Hit OK. Hit OK. All right, so now I have my new carpet. I'm going to hit OK here. My height offset, before I draw it, I want to make it 1/4 inch so it comes off the ground. Then I'm going to draw in my carpet that I want. So let's say I want it to be all the way around the outside of this room. And I would do this for, right, I would make a new floor type for each kind of thing I have in there. So if I have LVT, if I have a ceramic tile floor, if I have a whatever it is, should have its own pattern and own material and own floor type. Okay, so I'm going to hit the check mark. And now you can see like the gray might be too light in this instance. When you zoom in, I would then have a finish key that would show that this pattern is carpet and this pattern is concrete. So going over how to make that quick, finish keys are like a separate thing. So if I go to view, I would make a legend. So legend, and this is my finish legend. And we're going to spend a whole day doing this. This is just like a little preview. And here I can make annotate region. And I would basically try to find the same pattern. So if I don't have it, I can make it. So edit type, duplicate, carpet. And here I would make sure that I pick that same pattern. So I think I did steel, hit OK. And then I think it was gray, so I would change that. So here's one, and then I would also have my concrete. So I might already have a concrete one in here. I don't, so I would do a new type, edit type, duplicate, concrete. Change my fill pattern to the sand, I think is the concrete usually, or is there a concrete? Oh, there's a concrete. Okay, and I think that is filled in black right now. Hit OK, hit OK. And then I would type in carpet. Concrete. Okay, so now when I make a sheet, so if I made a new sheet, and my finished plan or my furniture and finished plan is going to live on here, I would also drag on my legend, which has its own little place over here in the project browser. So now I can have, I can show the patterns on here, and then I can also check my legend and understand what each of those are. Okay, so I think I would like you to try to change a couple of visibility things. So try to change your wall visibility, see if you can make it have a thicker line or have a poche, and then also see if you're able to show your furniture in one plan, not showed in the other, or your floor patterns in one plan, your floor patterns not in another. All right, so let's do that first, and I want to talk a little bit about annotations as well. Yeah.
And then some issues. So
Okay.
specifically with furniture plans,
Yes.
I imported a lot of wood blocks from America, which is nice. And when I do the physical thing, furniture, they don't go away.
They don't go away. Okay, so we might need to fix something about them. Also do furniture systems. Try to see if they're under furniture systems. That also didn't work. Okay. So we can change what category those show up under. So select one of those. And then go edit family. And then over here, click on the one with the yellow folder. And then right now it's showing up as multiple. Tell it if you just want to be furniture. And then hit OK. And then load into project and close. Yes. Yes. Overwrite, and then confirm their values the second one. Yeah, so you would need to do that for each of those families. Basically, when the person made the family, they weren't careful to say that it was furniture, so you need to tell Revit this is furniture. Yeah.
I noticed that it didn't really push it with outside walls. Like, I guess depending on the wall type, because here it worked. But this wall didn't do it. For some reason, not going to do it.
So is this showing, are all your new walls showing different than your existing walls? Is it a new wall, existing wall thing?
Yes, I did. I did it the way that you showed us for these ones. It's like
Yeah, so your new walls are showing as black, and those are showing up as gray.
there's like missing, like this one doesn't.
Yeah, see then. Okay. That's is there a curtain wall there? Okay, so change the type there. The curtain walls won't show up as poché because like they're glass. Yeah, try that. Okay. So let's see what I'm gonna select it again. Maybe it's not a full height one. Ground level, yep, that's only 3'8" high. So if that one goes all the way up, you can change that to be the level above, whatever level it's on, and then change the top box. That's probably good. Yep, did that fix it? Yeah. What other walls were there? There was the exterior one's kind of a weird one to me. That one I would think would work. Up to level plaza. Please offset. Maybe, I wonder if it's like the floor is covering it. Or not the floor, the,
Oh, this is my ground level. So that would make sense. The exterior, like landscaping.
is covering it. I don't know. I would think that it,
Let's say it's like, what would this be categorized under, like this pattern?
it's topography. So if you had the topography, do we see it? Is it okay? Yeah, so put that back on though, because you're probably, do you want to see that, Phil? You probably do, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of helpful to know when you're underground. Is it okay? You can change the pad. If there's like a building pad that holds back the topography, so maybe that's the best way to do that. So if you tab over the edge of it, I don't know if it's going to show up here. Yeah, click that. Can I set a building pad?
No, that is. Okay, so it is.
I want something I can edit the boundary of though. So let's try going to try 3D view. And then let's see, hide that for a second. Oh, sorry, so right click, so select it, right click, hide in view element. Okay, and then kind of come over this way. We're looking for the building pad. Try that gray thing maybe, is it? No, what's that, this thing? It's a wall. I'm looking for something that looks like a floor. Try that.
floor.
Yeah, but we want the field. Bring down this farther, the section box. I think I built it that way, but I don't think we did. Can't see it. What's that thing? Can I see a sec? Sorry. Oops. I'm out of ideas. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. That's not showing out. Okay, what if I do what would section be? Oh my gosh, this reverse thing is really confusing. Yeah. Okay. This is closet ground level, right? So I'm going to do edit boundary. And then drag that out to the wall. And then the journal. Okay. So basically it just like is extending it's pushing the dirt further back so you can see your wall. Because the dirt would never be in the middle of the wall, you know?
I'm having the same furniture issue.
Okay, let me show everybody. Okay, so let's say that I hang on, let me edit this a second to make it wrong and then we can fix it. Okay, so I no longer want this to be my furniture plan. I want to turn it off. So I'm going to type VV, come over to furniture, uncheck it, uncheck furniture systems, and hit OK. But nothing has changed. So the issue is that the person who made this family didn't tell Revit what it was appropriately. Uh-oh. System stopping. Why? Ah! No, what happened? It's only like a quarter of the way across its bar.
Is it still up on the screen?
It's still up on this screen. You want to just come look? Sorry, guys. I can also just go over it again when it starts up again. But you would go, yeah, no. So like this, they didn't appropriately put it on the right. It didn't tell Revit what kind of family it was. So if I go to edit family, there's this button here that's called family category and parameters that helps you define like what it should be. So if you click on that, we can change this to furniture and hit OK. Load into project and close. You don't have to save the file. It'll just change the one in your version. Overwrite the existing version parameter values, and then it'll disappear.
Okay.
Yeah. What else?
What's on this there? Oh, I tried to change the material on like one of my forms, but it changed it on the entire floor.
Yes. So you need to make a new floor type. So the material is by the whole, like if you have multiple of the same floor in your project, each one is going to need its own thing. Yeah, so if you go to edit type, over here, duplicate, give it a new name, and you can call it like whatever control you want to be. Hit OK. Then go to edit structure. And here's where you're changing the thickness of it. So you can make it 1/4 inch here instead of the 6 inches. And then perfect, you have it, okay. Okay again. All right, so now that one's its own thing. So now if you click on this floor, and then, oh, there goes on the floor. That one, go to edit type, and then go back over to the structure, change it back to concrete here. See, like, precast, yep. And okay. And do it again. Okay, and that is showing up. Yep, so you have that offset a quarter inch or something, right? Yeah, you only get offset a quarter inch. Yeah. That's just so the finish pops up. Sweet. Yes, this is an issue that yeah, I'll go over that as well. So let's see if I can get this to work again. Okay, I wanted to go over the furniture thing one more time. So if I come over here and I try to turn off my furniture, even though these are off, these are still showing up. It's because the person who made the family didn't put it on the right type. So if I select it, go to edit family, I can change what type it's considered up here with the yellow folder where it says family, category, and parameters. So I click there, change it from whatever it is to furniture, hit OK, then load into project and close. And then they should disappear. Okay, so the other thing that's happening for everybody is that this exterior wall is not showing up as pochade. And what happened is when I made the building pad is like the floor that's keeping the dirt out, basically. It's making the topography kind of hold back. So I made that inside the wall instead of outside the wall. So right now the dirt's shown is like coming through the wall. So to fix that, I need to get a hold of my building pad, which is kind of hard to do, unfortunately. So I'm going to make a section so I can get it. So I'm going to go to View, Section, click here, click there, then right click on my section, go to View. So my building pad is this thing at the bottom here. Do you see how it's like the dirt is kind of coming up to it? So that's what I want to select. Then I'm going to go back to my ground level view, and I'm going to hit Edit Boundary. And then here, I'm just going to drag this boundary out so that the wall is inside of that line. And then I hit my green check mark. Okay, and that's done. Yeah.
How do I unhide the topography that we did earlier?
Oh, so you can hide things and unhide them. So if you hide it, right, so let's say I have this thing and I want the topography, I want to hide it. I can right click on it and hit Hide and View Element. But if I want to get it back, I have to find it. So down here at the bottom, there is a little button that is a light bulb and says Reveal Hidden Elements. So you click on that, and everything that's hidden in this view comes up in pink. So then you would select the pink thing, right click on it, and hit Unhide and View Elements. That's another way that you can hide things or show things in a particular view. So for example, if I wanted to show all the furniture again and I didn't want to go to VV, I could right click on here and do Unhide and View Category, and they would all show up again. Or maybe I decide that like I just don't want to show these two chairs for whatever reason. I can just select those two, go to Hide and View Elements, and just those two will disappear. But they're still there. Like if I make a 3D view, they would show up. If I do the hidden thing, they're still there. It's just in this particular view, they don't show up. Yeah.
I tried to edit the topography. It's not showing the wall.
You don't want to edit the topography. You want to edit the path. So if you go back to your section, so you want to go, did you make your section? Okay, so click on your section, go to View, and then you want to click on the pad itself, which is this thing, and then hit Edit Boundary, and you can look at it in floor plan. It's going to tell you, like, you can't edit it in the section. I can't see it. So you go to floor plan, and then you can edit the boundary. Other hang-ups while we're here. Yeah, it didn't come up in Canvas. So you just need to print it as like PDF, and then you can upload that to separate submission once we get it all like where you want it. Okay, so it doesn't have to be this instant. Just like yeah. I mean, do you follow along with the changing the law packages and stuff that you're going over? Yeah. Okay, I want to make sure you know how to do it though. So give the shot to type in PD, and then go down to walls, and then change pattern here. Yeah. Do override, make it solid, and then change the color to black. Is it okay? Okay. If any that are new or not showing up here, check their phasing and make sure they're on the right phase. So for example, this is new, you select it, and then you come down here and change it to phase created to what is that new construction? It's interesting. So you can start with black, right? Okay. What if that has all of that box? Do properties for that? 7 foot. Because it doesn't have the 4, try making them 0 inches. Yeah, it should be 0 there. I'm not sure why the 10 inches is on them. That's really weird. Well, but it's tall enough that it doesn't matter. And like your plan cuts at 4 feet, so if it goes up 7 feet, that should be fine, you know? Let's see. Oh, I did the surface part of something like that. It should be an override here in the pattern. So this one should be. And you already did that, you just follow along. You did it, right? It's cool, right? Okay. Yeah, that's it. And then if your existing walls want to show up differently, like right now they're really light, you can change that. So if you type go to manage phases, rapid overrides, you can fix that here. So you can do here, like change that. Hit visible, and then change the color. No solid, just the color. I'll change it to like gray so that they see it. They look different than the other walls. Or middle guard, you should middle guard. Yeah, okay. Yep, otherwise this, and then maybe change the lines to black here. Yep, that looks a little better, right? Because we're not that anymore. Okay. So other things. A number of you on your plans still had like these lines on there. So these lines are just 2D lines that only exist in this view. And those are only there to indicate there's a ramp. So if you no longer have a ramp there, you just need to delete them. If you made a new ramp, you might want to put them in. So to put in new lines, you go to annotate, detail line, and then this is just like, it's like drafting. So you change your line style over here. So I can make it like a thin line. I can use a line here, and then I could draw in whatever whatever I need to draw in. This is also very handy. Like, let's say you don't have time to 3D model something, or you want to add an arrow in, or whatever extra things you want to put in your drawing that you don't want to model, you can draw in 2D lines. So sometimes, for example, I might have like a floor pattern that I don't, or like an elevation line that I think is too small to really model in. So I could always draw that with 2D lines, and it would exist in this plan and be visible. You can add notes in this plan. So if I go to text, I can create a note. Quarter inch is probably too big. You probably want like 330 seconds is a good note size. You would hit this little thing over here to add an arrow, and then you can drag the tips of it with the bubbles to get it to point at what you want it to point at. So those are really helpful sometimes. Room tags we've done, so that's under annotate as well. Room tag. They'll only work if you have a closed like space to put it in. So I need a room first. So I would need to go to architecture, room. So let's say I put one in this bathroom. I could then tag it. If these are too big or small, I can change that over here. I can add room tag with area. I can do room tag with volume. If I don't want the number in here, I could always go to edit family and then just like delete out the stuff I don't want. I can change the size here, so I could tell it that I actually want this to be smaller. So maybe I want it to be 1/16 of an inch. So I would duplicate this. Change those parameters, hit OK. And then I could give this a new name. So maybe this is room tag small. And then if I select this, I could change it to my room tag small. That would just have my my name in there. There is this box that I forgot to get rid of. So if I go to edit family, this is a visibility graphics thing. If I type in VV, I need to show annotation categories. Click on that. And then that box shows up. And now I should be able to get rid of that. So that would be like if I wanted something smaller. I can also add beyond adding lines. So whatever kind of lines I want to add in here that help explain things. So maybe there's a big hole in the floor that I made here that you can't really see. So I'm adding in an X to describe a hole in the floor. I can also put in filled regions. So filled regions are areas of pattern. So let's say I have like, what's a good time to use a filled region? Maybe there's like one little part of the floor that the client wants to put in like a marble piece with their logo on it or something like that. So I could go to architecture, or sorry, I could go to annotate region. I could draw in whatever that is to the right dimension. Let's say their logo is so again, whenever you trim, make sure you're, clicking on the piece you want to keep. So then I could change my filled region to be whatever color I want it to be. If this is a marble piece, maybe it should look like marbles. I could do edit type, duplicate. There's like kind of a woody pattern that might work. And so now this is not modeled, right? This is just a 2D drawing on top. So if I were to go to my 3D view, the floor has not changed. If I were to take like a rendering, it wouldn't show up. But it's good for like elevations. It's good for floor plans, for things where you just need to notate something that you're not showing a view of or that you need to do quickly. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to go over down here. This is like your visibility toolbar. So over here it has the scale, detail level. So I almost always just work with detail level fine. But if I were to put this to, for example, if this wall were modeled more accurately and it were really like, it were some kind of parts, oh, I already did the overrides in this. Hang on, that one's not going to work. We need a new wall. Okay, so let's say I make a new wall, and it's one of these ones that has like layers. So we have ethos on metal stud here. And right now I have my graphic override, so I'm going to get rid of my graphic overrides here so you can see this. Okay, so this is my wall at a highly detailed view. This might be too much information for scales that are at 1/16. So I could change this here and go to coarse, and it's just going to show up as a simple wall. If I go to medium, depending on the family, it'll like show how much detail is in that. So it looks like this one has the same setting for both medium and fine. This is significant though, because like Celeste had a furniture family that somebody had made where at coarse level, it just shows up as a box. And then at fine level, it shows like up as a curvy piece of furniture. So check your detail level. I think for our purposes, it's fine just to keep everything at fine because we haven't modeled our walls this way. But that's another thing that's down here. Okay, you already know about this one. This one changes your graphic display, whether it's wireframe, hidden lines, what we've been using. Shaded puts some color on things. Realistic tries to render it, which doesn't always go well on a floor plan. I'm not sure what that's going to do. Eee. All right, that's not terrible. You can kind of see my carpet pattern there. But usually for floor plans, you're doing hidden line. Do not crop view. So we made crop regions. Do not crop view shows you everything outside that crop box. Show crop region is what we use to kind of limit our drawing, right? We can change our framing there. And if I hide crop view, I can get rid of that line. Temporary hide isolate, I don't really ever use. It's to hide something just for a second. I usually just hide things normally because it's just as easy to show them again. And we don't use analytical models. So I think that's everything down there. All right. Okay, yes? Your room tags won't show up. If you type in VV, do you have your annotation categories on? And are your room tags on there? So if I go all the way down to, it should be room tag. Let's see. Yeah. So like if this is unclicked, your room tags won't show up. Or that happens with views too. So sometimes your section views aren't showing up, and it's because like sections is off, which is here. Did that do anything or no? Yeah. Okay. Oh, do you have rooms in yet? Did you make rooms? Go to architecture, room. All over here. Then hover over one. Yeah, looks like you don't have them yet, so you can stick those in. So the one thing is the room only works if the whole space is enclosed. So like here, you're going to need a room separation line. So let me show that as well. So some of you are defining areas of space that are not defined by walls. For example, lounges. So if you're doing that, you need a room separation line. So if you go to architecture, you can go to room separation line somewhere. Room separator, which is here under room and area. So I wanted this little area I'm going to define as some kind of a lounge. I can put those in, and then I can use my rooms. I can go to architecture room. And even though there's no walls there, I can still make that defined as a room. And what's nice about that is then I can also get like what the area is. I can give it a name. I can do all of that. If you do not want to see those lines, you can just right click and do hide and view elements, and that'll hide them, but you'll still have that room tag there. Okay, other questions?
I have a specific one.
Okay, I can come for a really specific one. Okay, so what I am looking for Friday is just revisions and updates of your plans based on both your plans and the 3D view based on what we talked about last Monday, right? Yeah, last Monday. So going back and saying like, okay, do all these room sizes make sense? Do my floors make sense? Can I make this easier to read by taking away the concrete fill? Can I change the wall pochette so that these are a little bit easier to read? If you have plans that are in different orientations, get them all in the same orientation, crop the view so that it fits on one page. Are all your rooms labeled? All of those kind of things that we talked about, try to get those in so you feel like you come into Friday with like, this is my plan, you know? When we're moving forward, we're gonna be working a lot on scheduling. So putting furniture in, and like making a list of the furniture, making a list of the finishes, and having everything, making elevations of rooms. So the more that we can kind of have the plan feel good where it is, then we can start looking at those detailed things rather than like constantly working on the plan. Does that make sense? We can always like, of course, go back and edit the plan, edit the floors, edit the ceilings. I think especially ceilings, a lot of people needed more time on ceilings. But I think the more we can have that done for Friday, then we can like look at other stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna close up everything here, and then I'm available to help with whatever comes up. Oh gosh, that was really, really long. I'm so sorry, guys. That was forever. Are you okay?